Everybody, my name is Mr. Bean, and I just want to thank everybody for clicking on my video. If you guys know anything about me, I'm a pretty quiet guy, right? From my TV shows and my blockbuster movies, I don't talk much, or at least I didn't. But over the years, I built this passion for coding, and I don't know, it just brought something out of me, and I just want to share it with the world, specifically in Java, which is why you guys are obviously watching this video. And just based off this title, you guys already know this video right here is going to be about one of the most fundamental methods in Java, and that is System.out.println. And it's used to output messages, strings, and values, right? Variable values. And so let's just get started. So how System.out.println works is you gotta use a capitalized S, and then you type in System.out.print. And there's two ways you could do this, right? You could print it with ln, which indicates a new line, or you could do it without it. So we're first gonna do it without the new line, and whenever you wanna output a sentence, you gotta do it within two quotations. So there we go. There we go. There's two quotations, and then you could type in whatever you want, any sentence, numbers, anything. They're all going to be seen as just a string of characters. So here we go. Let's just do hello, Mr. Bean. Boom. And then you have to press a semicolon at the end of it to indicate that you're done with that line. Because the way this works is that the program reads line by line, and then once it sees that semicolon, it knows to go to the next line. All right, that line is done. So the way to run it and how it works is it's going to get outputted here, but the way to run it is just right here, run, and hello Mr. Bean should pop up right here like it just did. There we go. And then I told you that there's two ways of doing this. You can also do it with ln. So if I was to do System.out.print and say Teddy, so because I did not use an ln at the end of this to represent a new line, Teddy will get printed right beside it, right? But if I was to put ln beside it, what this says to the program is once it prints hello Mr. Bean, that ln represents a new line. So once it reads this semicolon and it also knows that this is ln, it goes to the next line. So once it's done printing out hello Mr. Bean, it goes to the next line, and then it's going to print whatever was in the preceding System.out.print, which is Teddy. So we will see this right here now. So let's just press run, and there we go, Teddy. Right. So with System.out.print, you don't just have it doesn't just print sentences, right? It can also print variables. And how variables works is that there's four fundamental main variables used within Java. It's int, which represents integers. There is string, which you have to use with capitalized string, right? There is char, which represents a single letter. So you can't store any words into it, only like a letter. So A or B or C, right? And then the fourth one is called the Boolean. And the Boolean is essentially true or false, right? And you'll see why we use this later on, but it's a very important variable to know as well. Boolean, which is spelled like this. I know we've never seen this before in our lives, right? But this is just something you gotta memorize. Boolean indicates a true or false. So like I said, a system doesn't just print sentences, it can also print variables. And how variable assigning works is, so say I want to store a variable that, say I want to store an integer to a variable. How that will work is, so first I got to indicate what type of variable I want. So it'll be an int, which represents the integer. And then following that, you're gonna indicate what type of name this variable is gonna be, right? It could be anything in the world, right? But uh, just for an example, right, to make it as straightforward as possible, let's just use number, right? So int number, and then we have to say equal sign, which indicates assigning. So we're going to assign something to this number variable, right, which is an integer. So let's say 8. And then because we're done with this line, we're going to do semicolon, boom. So what this says is, if we just break it down, so first, right, first in your mind, you're thinking about creating some sort of variable that's going to store a value, right? So we wanted to store a variable that stores integers, so numbers, right? So we decided to store an integer, int, and then we have to name this variable so that we could use it throughout our program. And we decided to call it number. And then this equal sign represents what's going to get stored in it, and that's the number 8. So like I said, System.out.println doesn't just have to print strings, it can also print variables. So instead of the quotations now, you only use the quotations when you're using sentences, right, which aren't variables. So we could just say number, right? And this System.out.println knows that number is right here, and that's going to be 8. So when we say run, it's not going to output number, it's going to output number 8. So if we just look at that, number 8, there we go. Now if I was to use quotations, right, if I was to print it with quotations, now it sees this as a sentence. It does not see it as a variable. They only because it's between two quotations, it sees this as a sentence, so it's just going to print it out as a sentence, right? Watch this. And now it's number. All right, so that's the first type of important variable that can be assigned. The second one, like I said, is a string, right? And a string is just a sequence of characters, which is a sentence. So same thing is you're gonna need two double quotations, and you can print whatever you want in it. So instead of printing "Hello, Mr. Bean" here, let's just store. Oh, see, as you can see, there's a red line underneath it, which indicates there's something wrong, right? And the reason why there's something wrong is because there's nothing assigned to this variable, right? Because like I said, first you gotta indicate what variable it's gonna be. This is gonna be a string variable. Then you gotta indicate the name of this variable that you want. Let's name it bean. And then equal sign represents, okay, we're gonna assign whatever's in here to the bean variable. So Mr. Hello, Mr. Bean. And then once we're done with the sentence, we have to click a semicolon. There we go. And now we can just delete this and put bean. And the program knows what bean is, because once you write it here, the program will remember that bean actually indicates this. So this is what it's gonna print out. None of this, just this. So now we should see "Hello, Mr. Bean" right here. There we go. All right, now the next variable is char. And so first we have to indicate, okay, it's going to be char, and char just indicates a character. So char, character. What is the name going to be? Let's just say A. Like I said, it could be anything. It could be a word, right? It could be one letter. The name could be anything. And let's assign it to A. So now char is different because you're not going to use double quotations like you would for a string, right? You can only do single quotations now. So it's just going to be like, there we go. As you can see, it's single quotations, not double. Double would indicate that it's a string. And there would be an error actually, because it can only store one character, right? Actually, no, my bad. If you only have one character in here, then it should be fine, even with double quotations. But we just use single quotations because that's just kind of the standard. Like you can do a, right? And it's, oh, you know what? I'm wrong. It's going to be single quotations. So whenever you use characters, char, single quotations. And now, same thing. All you got to do is a, and the program remembers a equals this, right? A. So it's going to print this value right here, down here. All right. And the last variable type that I want to talk about is a Boolean. So Boolean, spelled like that, once again, if you remember what I said previously, a Boolean can only store a true or false, and it's going to be lowercase. So first I want to indicate what type of variable. It's a Boolean. Then I want to indicate the name of the Boolean variable. So it's going to be, let's say, it could be anything, right? Apple equals, so it can either be true or it could be false. And it has to be lowercase. If you have uppercase, there's going to be a problem. As you can see, it's highlighted in red. It has to be lowercase. And in the later videos, you'll see why this is an important variable to use. But for now, just remember, you can't use quotations for a Boolean. Right? It's not going to work like this. You can see there's an error. You can't store a number into it. You can see there's an error. You can only store true or false. And then Apple. And what will you expect right here? That's right, a false, right? You're going to see false. There we go. And if you were to assign it true, then you would see true. So basically, that is it for System.out.println. Hopefully, this clears up some things for you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And once again, thank you so much for clicking on my video and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.